What is going on, Movie Meals? Movie Meals, before we get into it, let's just thank the patrons right off the bat. Thank you to Kimberly Karen. Go be a member of the patronage. Go merch. All link down in the description. This is our This is our Oscars after show, where we're here to react to the winners and everything and what happened. And whew, what a show!
Nothing else.
Man, what a show! So if you watched our prediction video, I'm a big lover of the Oscars. I think they still have quite a bit of meaning and weight to them. I mean, especially after some of those speeches, especially by the people who win these technical awards. So I want to speak just on the show real quick. Then we'll get to Will Smith. Then we can get to the actual nominees.
Will Smith.
The show.
What about Will Smith?
Stop. The show was obviously night and day better than last year. Last year's show was horrible. Doing it in the way they did this year was so much better. Not only they've made it feel a little bit more like the Globes in terms of seating, like people were more at tables with people instead of just in this straight auditorium style that I really liked. I thought Amy, Wanda, and who's the other one? She's so funny. I can't think of her name right now. Regina Hall. Yes. I thought did a really good job. They had some bits that were roll around funny. They had a couple misses, but every host is going to have that. But overall, they were very, very funny. After the Will Smith hit, Amy Schumer had a really funny joke where she was like, I feel like the vibe is off. And it was hysterical. She had a really funny joke against Ridley Scott saying that nobody watched his movie, which was really funny. They were giving out a free DVD of it. It was very funny. There were some really good bits. They did a very good job. They're not iconic hosts by any sense, but they did a very good job. One of the better hosts I think they've had in a long time. The show was still 3.5 hours. And they cut things out to try to speed it up, but they still showed almost the entire speech, still showed the nominees. This was just a tactic to try and speed it up, and it didn't really work by the runtime. At first, I thought it was working, and then I realized it wasn't. So they should have just left those to have been announced when they were. They only cut out walking time. That was it. They cut out 8 minutes of walking time, and I will die on this hill. Get rid of the songs. You've got a better show. And it'll go much faster. The songs take up probably 45 minutes in total of this. You don't need to announce the best pictures throughout and do it twice. And the last thing I want to touch on is the In Memoriam. The In Memoriam was pumpy. It had a lot of energy to it. They were singing songs in more of a light that I think other cultures that are not just basic white people culture, of more of the spirit of that somebody has moved on from us and we should celebrate that. And so it was a lot more pumpy, and I actually really liked that. I thought it felt like we were truly celebrating the lives of some of the of all the people we have lost, especially when they came, because they always do something big for kind of the people that made a massive impact on Hollywood. And they did that for Ivan Reitman, Betty White, and Sidney Poitier. And I thought those were really good. I thought it was a very heartwarming, really heartfelt send off to these people that were gone. And some people thought it was inappropriate. I just thought it worked really well. I thought it was the Oscars actually being inclusive and being inclusive of how different cultures respect the death of other people and people they care about. And I really liked that. This idea that the Oscars is so white, I truly believe is gone. I think if you watch the show like I do from start to finish, I mean, it is so diverse. There are so many people from all over who are winning. There were people dropping. There was a lot of people who were not afraid to be like, no, I'm here with my husband as a gay man who did this, or even Kristen Stewart, who is out there with her girlfriend. I mean, they were strong. It was powerful. And I thought this was one of the better overall messages that the Oscar did in proving that, adding thousands of people of diversity over the last 4 years is actually starting to pay off. I think you saw it in the winners of being very diverse with who won, even with Dune sweeping some technical awards. It didn't feel like old white men to me from start to finish. I really appreciated that. I'm okay that the show's 3 hours, never have cared. But now we can get to Will Smith.
Well, before that, I do have one question that's been driving me nuts about the show, and I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
How awesome was it seeing DJ Khaled at the Oscars?
Oh my God, I
How
hate you so much.
Awesome.
Kyle,
that had to have been amazing.
He literally showed up within the first 15 seconds. He like runs out and he's like, it's a DJ, and he like interrupts the girls as they're about to start. And he's like, we got to start this right. We got to introduce you ladies right. And I had gotten up to get a slice of pizza. Like, I was like, I was like, I'm just waiting for a joke to start. And it was nothing. It did not matter. They should have cut that out. Some of the people were very funny. Some of the banter was hysterical. I can't remember who came out after Will and Chris had their incident, but he was like, this is all love. He was like, Will, Chris, we're going to meet at the bench. We'll go talk about it. Like he was good. But anyway, let's get to what people want to actually talk about, which is ridiculous. But Will Smith punching Chris Rock. So Kyle, what were your thoughts? You didn't watch it, but you saw 1,000 clips. You were following Twitter. What did you think of everything?
It was certainly unexpected and wild to witness. And it's definitely going to make this a memorable show. Like, even for me who hasn't seen the show, I'm going to remember it now. Like, it's going to be up there with, like, the blunders of like Moonlight and whatnot when it comes to the awards, right?
But streaking, that happened at the Oscars.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't really know what to think of it. Like, obviously, Will Smith probably should not have done it that way. He
100% should not have walked up and punched Chris Rock. And he didn't punch him, he slapped him, but still.
It was a heck of a hit, though. Like, you could hear like the thud, and it's wild that happened. But no, it was not in good taste and the right way to handle it, that's for sure. And it definitely didn't seem like, at first it seemed like a harmless joke, but I guess apparently Jada has been having hair loss issues, which is why she has been having to shave her head lately. So I guess it's reasonable for Will and Jada to not like the joke, but you probably should not have handled it. And it certainly made for a dour night the rest of that award ceremony, I'm sure.
So I'm going to walk you through what happened to me as I was watching it. So I've heard of G.I. Jane, but I have never seen that movie. So I thought it was like a movie that she had made, and he was like, we'll get there. But I thought that's what was happening, is he was like, I can't wait to see you in a sequel. It was a bad movie. You were in a bad movie, blah, blah. I've made a million bad movies, Chris Rock or something. And she had an eye roll and the camera caught it. And I legitimately was like, that does not look like a pretend to be mad for the camera's eye roll. I was like, Jada's an actress, but man. And then the next thing you know, Will goes up there and hits, the sound cuts out. I don't know what's going on. And then I could tell when they cut back to Will, he was yelling, and I could tell what he was saying. He was yelling for Chris to keep his wife's name out of his mouth, and
with explicitives.
Yes. And and then Chris keeps going, and you could feel it in the room watching that show. I wasn't there, and I felt like I was. So I immediately go to Twitter. I'm dropping a million messages. And there were pictures of his publicist running out and talking to him. There was all this stuff. And then there were clips going around at apparently the Oscars, because when they do live, it's always about like 40 seconds to about a minute behind of what we're actually seeing from where the show is, so they can censor those things. But apparently they don't do that in other countries, even though they're broadcasting it. So other countries who were watching it were recording it and releasing what he was saying. It was very intense. So then I started doing research. I realized that G.I. Jane was a Demi Moore movie, and she has a shaved head in it. And I get that that's what he was doing, or that's where the joke was. And, if Chris does or doesn't know, she has an immune disease. I can't remember what it is, but she's immune compromised in a way that results in hair loss. And, just at the end of the day, you can't go up and hit somebody, no matter how insensitive they're being. That's the whole point of freedom of speech. I mean, if we do that logic, that means if I go to any comedy show ever and somebody says something I don't like, I can go hit him in the face. You know, Will should not have done that. And I get there's a little bit of the man part of like, yeah, he's defending his girl. And I get that. And he should defend her and he should do that. And he tried to say that in his speech. But to be honest, at first I was like, man, I think he's doing a good job. He's trying to cover his tracks. And I started thinking about it. My family was talking about it and I've seen stuff on Twitter and I was starting to think more on it. And I was like, no, what he's really doing is he's trying to defend his own actions through the guy he played, and talking about how he's defending these young actresses and how you need to defend people. And I get that, you know, we look at Hollywood through this lens that is unfair of these actors. And Will and Jada have been through a lot. And I get Chris took shots at Jada last time when he hosted the Oscars. And I've seen that clip of him hosting a bunch of times. And he still at any point, that's just not the way to handle it. He needs to come up to him and say, look, man, that was way too far. Those were not funny. I would appreciate moving forward if you didn't make jokes like that. You know, my wife suffers from this disease, blah, blah, blah. And instead, the entire world watched that. And I thought his speech ended up becoming a cop-out, and it made me sad because I really like Will Smith. I was rooting for him to win this Oscar. Andrew Garfield should have won over him. I do truly believe that. Andrew Garfield was the best performance this year by an actor in a leading role. But I was very okay assuming Will was going to get it as a legacy award. Andrew's been here a while. He's going to continue to be here a while. He's a lot younger. But you can't do that. At the end of the day, you can't do that. And when he won, it really bummed me out because I was watching an impromptu speech of him try to defend his actions without explicitly defending his actions, and also trying to thank the movie and the people, and none of it worked for me. I did like him talking to Denzel and that Denzel quote he said, but it also, like, the first thing that people were saying is like, oh, is he talking that Chris Rock is the devil? Like, is the devil coming for him or something? And it took away from what should have been Will's legacy moment. And it bummed me out because I really do like Will Smith. I think he's a very good actor. I think him and his family have clearly been through too much in the public eye. Granted, they do that to themselves with their Facebook show, but I think it was a bummer. It was a bummer that he did that because that took away the mood of the night. And we're not leaving talking about how Coda, an absolutely incredible movie that won Best Picture, that people need to be championing and praising and showing more to give, you know, to really shed some light and inform people on this community and these stories. Instead, we're talking about Will Smith. And I just sit here and I wonder, like, if that had been Brad Pitt running up and hitting, you know, some white actor, do we think it's even worse? Like, are we giving it, you know, I don't know. I don't even know. I'm ranting. What do you think? Give me some thoughts.
I like the speech, but Will Smith is also very charismatic, and the tears, man, the Will Smith tears, they get me all the time. They got me with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They'll continue to get me. But all joking aside, though, I do get where you're coming from in terms of the speech feeling like a cop-out that wasn't worthy of being a cop-out. I do acknowledge that and partially agree with you, but I don't know. Like, I don't have thoughts. I'm not involved with the Smiths, obviously. I don't know all of what's going on in their lives, nor should it be my business. But it wasn't a good look for Will Smith. It wasn't, you know, the right way to handle that situation. And, you know, it bummed out an award ceremony that should have been special to begin with. And that's like you said, it's just a big bummer, but hopefully we can celebrate all this other stuff moving forward, unless you have anything more to discuss about it.
I know. I get it. He was like, I'm trying to be a vessel of love in my life. And I think he meant saying that as, I'm sorry for what I did. I am trying to be this and I didn't do it. But at the end of the day, it's hard to, you know, I want to be a vessel of love, but okay. But that means when you get too riled up, you're going to go hit somebody because they made a joke about your wife you don't like. Like, it's just tough. And they have been through a lot. And I just hear it in the news. You know, I read the news and I see it. It's there. But anyway, those are our thoughts on it. let's get to the nominations. So Kyle, what were some of your thoughts about what won, what didn't won, snubs, surprises, things par for course? What did you think?
I guess the first thing we should start with is Dune, like
I think they
sweeping
won
all of the
6
technical
Oscars,
stuff.
6 or 7
Yeah,
Oscars.
yeah, sound
Yeah.
like 6 was. Um, which hey, props to it. I mean, that movie on a technical level is excellent. I mean,
Just on a technical level, it's on every level. Dune is incredible.
on every level, excuse me, but
yeah, stop.
but no, it's very impressive on all those levels. You know, things such as I'm trying to look here through my list. I mean, best sound, best visual effects, obviously. Cinematography too. I don't know why I didn't think like Dune would have gotten best cinematography. Now that
You
I
didn't
look
even
back
listen
on
to
it,
me
but
when
it
I
is.
argued with you about it.
Yeah, that's on me. Film editing was the one that kind of I was bummed about. I mean, I knew it probably wasn't going to happen, but I wanted Tick Tick Boom to be
I did too.
that winner there. Yeah.
It's just, Tick Tick Boom should have gotten so much more love. Lin-Manuel is a surprise, and Canto didn't win. I mean, I know you talked about how James Bond songs tend to win, but it's just, Lin-Manuel was about to go for the trifecta. He was about to win everything, a Tony, a Grammy, whatever the other one is, and the Oscar. Like, he was about to win it all, or the quadfecta, whatever it is. And I was looking forward to that for him because I really thought it was in the bag. But they really do need to get rid of the songs. Stop singing the songs at the Oscars. It is an absolute waste of time.
Yeah.
I can agree with you there. It's for one part of a long movie is your one song. There are 15 songs in Canto. We don't need you to sing it. As cool as the performances are, as talented as everybody is, love Beyonce, love Billy, love them all. I mean, Megan Thee Stallion didn't need to be there and rap, but it did happen.
What happened?
Yeah, why don't you watch the show, Kyle? You could have seen your girl. She did.
No,
she
seriously, what are you talking about?
Megan Thee Stallion rapped the part in Encanto instead of the people who actually did the rapping. She rapped half the song in the live performance. I don't know why you're confused. If you watch the show, you know the things. And then Al doesn't have to explain.
Why not just have the people come in and rap the song? Why not have the people that actually did it?
Didn't do it. Not allowed.
Unreal. Okay. Yeah. I felt bad because I thought everyone like me cried during that song in Encanto, but apparently they cried in No Time to Die song. I don't know. Whatever. But speaking of Encanto, that one won Best Anime Feature, and I knew it was gonna win, but part of me really wished that it could have been Mitchell's vs. the Machines, but it wasn't gonna happen.
Encanto is just the better movie.
It is very good, that's for sure.
I mean, they're both very good. How it's not Luca, the streaming giant? I don't never know. History was made too tonight with Best Director. Jane Campion for Power of the Dog did get that. We had talked about that she would probably get that, and then I was hoping it would go to Coda, and that is what ended up happening. But Jane Campion is back to back for the first time ever, women winning the Academy Award for Best Director, and she's now the third woman in history to win the award, along with Chloe Zhao and Catherine Bigelow. So I'm all for that. We're making history. I love history. Big fan.
Not only that, but Troy Kotsur won for Best Supporting Actor.
Yes.
He's the first deaf actor to win an Oscar
for acting.
He's
the second deaf actor to win an Academy Award, but he is the first acting performance to have won the Oscar. And his speech, I think might have been the best speech of the night. His speech was very powerful. And I really liked it. It was very, very good.
Yeah. Plus Ariana DeBose, everyone was kind of expecting her to win, but I believe she's the first person of color who's also in the LGBTQ community to win for acting as well.
That's awesome. I love that. They said at the beginning of the show too, they took a jab at Florida for their the Oscars is always going to be a little political, and they took a jab at Florida for their Don't Say Gay bill and said we're going to be gay tonight. That's what Wanda Sykes was saying. Like, we're going to do it. What was really cool for me just because I'm such a fan of his, is Elliot Page came out to do a presentation and they talked about Juno. J.K. Simmons was there. And for me, I really like that because I have not seen Elliot Page in a long time. I know it was just a big deal with him, you know, telling the world about who he truly is and going through the transition. And he looked great. And it was really great seeing him. I love when they put a spotlight on those communities. It was right there for the trans community. And I thought it was just really cool to see. It made me happy. They're much more inclusive than people
absolutely.
are realizing. And I especially
it's
lately,
that way.
It really made me happy. It really did. This was a good show. I mean, it did not just because Will smacked Chris Rock in the face, but
the ratings are going to skyrocket though.
I was saying earlier, I want to see, like, give me the 10 to 20 minute mark after he hit him, give Twitter a little bit of time to move. And I want to see how the spike hits there, you know, like, I don't even think it was down. I think it was just flatlining and then boom, it just popped. But let's go through a few more. Like, costume design went to Cruella, which was really cool. We were hoping that would happen. Tammy Faye, that won for makeup, and Christina. Why am I forgetting names here?
Jessica
Chastain. Thank you. She won, for which Kyle and I had difference on. I did kind of think she would win, but I was hoping it would be Kristen, just because I've seen all the movies and looking at the performances, I did think Kristen's was better, but I really like Jessica Chastain. I'm very, very glad she won. I think it was a little bit of a legacy award for her as well. And, she's been nominated a handful of times, been around for a bit. So that was cool to see. She had a pretty good speech, but Eyes of Tammy Faye getting some love. Other thoughts you got here? Or should I just keep this train rolling?
The two categories that I got dead wrong, I feel like, were the screenplay categories. I mean,
nailed them.
I was hoping for Dune to win, but I figured it would go to The Power of the Dog, but Coda snuck up for me anyway. Like, I was very surprised by that winning. And then original screenplay went to Belfast. And I don't know, this category to begin with for me, I couldn't really peg a winner, but I just kept hearing about worst person in the world more than Belfast lately. So I just assumed it could go there. But
for
I
me,
guess Belfast won. I don't know how much. Have nothing to say.
I don't know how much Kenneth Branagh actually writes all of his scripts. And I wonder if, because it was just him, he was the sole writer on this, I believe. I mean, he was the only one up there and it was credited at the Oscars. So I believe that he was the sole writer. I think they were just like, look, let's give a legacy award to a really great movie that is in contention for the Academy Award, but we're just, let's give it to him here and not give it to him for Best Picture. And I think that just ended up taking the cake. Dune really, I think, was in much more contention for adapted screenplay than people think, because that is a very tough novel to adapt. I've read the novel. It is a dense novel, and it should be, I think it should have been up there, but Coda is just that good of a movie. It's stuck around. The first streaming movie ever won the Academy Award for Best Picture, and it went to Apple, not Netflix. It went to the one with the worst
that part makes me laugh.
Streaming service platform. It is by far the worst at user-friendly as a platform. Chris Evans showed up. Just talk about Lightyear. It was a good time.
Okay. I do have a question for you about that. How do you feel about a streaming service winning an Oscar? Because there's this debate kind of going around about, the theater experience is where, like, the true experience of, like, movies come from. And, like, you can still get it to the extent with streaming, but, like, when seeing in a theater, it's just a big difference. And I wonder if...
Yes.
You go on. What were you going to say?
Well, so, like, Coda came here to my theater during their, like, they were going to, Cinemark was putting out Oscar movies, and I wanted to go see it even though I've already seen the movie, because I just know that experience in the theater is so much better. And I never got a chance to go, unfortunately, but if it, as long as the Academy keeps the rules in play, I'm fine with it. Because I mean, if it turns into all 10 nominees and all of the winners are only streaming movies, I'll start to have a problem. But to me, in a weak year, Coda is 100% deserving of this win. I would have been okay if Power of the Dog won, and I would have loved and really been excited if Dune won. But as long as they keep those rules, and I think they will, then I'm fine with it, because you should be seeing movies on the big screen. That's why they're made. And honestly, as long as they keep those rules, and if the streaming services start to give out wider releases, I am so here for that, because I don't care if the streaming service is making the movie. They throw so much money at these projects that people complain about. We don't get enough independent film. Where's the $30 to $40 million movie? And they're all on Netflix. So if and Apple and Amazon, if they can put those in theaters and realize that that's the real big money ticket, and it keeps theaters alive, it keeps people going out of their homes, I think then it'll just actually be a benefit. I get the fear that people are scared, but right now I'm not in a place to worry that they won, because the Academy has that rule in place.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you there for the most part. But I would like the streaming services to start making their movies be on a wider release, but it's obviously not going to happen because they only want it to count, and then they want everyone to see it on their service rather than, go through the hubbub of dealing with theaters and splitting the money. Well, not splitting the money. The studios get the majority of it, but
to be fair too, a lot of the times after a movie wins Best Picture, you tend to get it in a massive release. So like we could suddenly see Coda world, nationwide in every theater, but we're also, you and I do live in very small towns in a state that does not have a lot of people. And, I'm not in, in Illinois, I'm not around Chicago or, close to Milwaukee. I'm not in these areas with these bigger cities. Maybe they got them. I mean, I know that there's some movies that are like, no, we only did put it out here or there, at the time to get notice, but I haven't done enough research to know if they're releasing these movies after that. Maybe they did do 1,000 theater release and we just unfortunately didn't get to see it. And so we never ended up hearing about it. I would need to do a bit more research myself, but I agree with what you're saying as well. It's just, it's a very muddied road that they're walking, and it's tough to, there's a lot of fear. I don't want the theater to leave, I don't want that fear. So I feel like it might, but I just try to take it one step at a time and see what happens. I mean, Coda deserved to win. It was so good.
Yeah. And it's hilarious that Apple won on their first try when Netflix has been trying for 5 years. I don't know. It cracks me up.
Netflix has been trying a long time. Amazon's tried and they haven't gotten it, but Apple's always coming around.
And Netflix really could have. Like this year, there were good movies, but it wasn't like a year where it's like it was a weak year. And Netflix really could have gotten it. They really could have gotten it with the power of the dog. But then the other streaming service, Apple, snuck it and won it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I find
Netflix is trying so hard. There are 2 other movies that came out this last year that I think could have gotten nominated for Best Picture, with The Harder They Fall and Tick, Tick, Boom.
Well, really? Harder They Fall?
I mean, if Harder They Fall had been nominated for Best Picture, I would have been okay with it. I would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. If it would have won more Tick, Tick, Boom, I think would have deserved that, or Power of the Dog. But I think they were worthy. I mean, it's over Don't Look Up. Are you kidding me? Put Harder They Fall in over Don't Look Up.
I'll give you that one.
Any day of the week. Amy Schumer had a really funny joke about how Leo DiCaprio does so much work for the environment to make sure that all of his girlfriends will have a nice, beautiful planet to live on when he passes. Did you not get it?
No, I okay. I just need to see the joke.
He had to explain it to half the people too. It was hysterical. It was so funny. It was so funny. And they were like, Jessica Chastain couldn't handle it. She thought it was such a bad shot. Yeah, that was hysterical. They were pretty funny. Yeah. They did a good job. There was a funny Spider-Man bit. It worked.
I saw the picture of that. Maybe I need to see it in context.
They all were dressing up as their favorite. Amy came down and she was like, I thought we were dressing up as our favorite movie. And they were all dressed up as characters from the movies. It was a funny bit.
Mm-hmm. By the way, can we talk about this fan vote audience cheer of the year thing?
Oh yeah, it was a great way to shorten the show by 15 minutes if you got rid of all that. It wasn't just cheer. The Living Dead movie that Zack Snyder did got 1 for the Twitter fan vote of the year. Get rid of it. You can't keep telling me you want a shorter show and then add this stuff because you're trying desperately to get the young people in there. They had BTS show up just to talk about how they liked Encanto and Disney movies. It was ridiculous. I get the Oscars are trying to go young, but nobody cares. If you're going young, go young. Just get the film people. That's all that matters.
The 5 choices in the cheer of the year was what? No Way Home, which
It was No
that
Way
makes
Home,
sense.
Snyderverse, Avengers Assemble from Endgame. It was the Night of the Living Dead movie for like a moment where they had to get into a car.
Was Dreamgirls one of the picks?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
I thought
I zoned out.
Dreamgirls. Fair, you should, but I just thought I saw the list on passing. I was like, so you have Avengers Endgame from 2 years ago in this category. You have Dreamgirls for some reason, and then
Don't remember.
you have a streaming only movie as the choice. And
eliminate it. The Academy, you need to eliminate this stuff. It is
It's
stupid. There are
dumb.
ways to get ratings up. Will Smith slapping Chris Rock is the best way to do it. So
what
are you
was
doing?
this called? I have to look this up to make sure I got this right. Best,
It was like the best cheer moment.
best cheer moment.
It was Spider-Man, Avengers, Zack Snyder's verse, the Living Dead thing, and there was one other movie. This is great television. Right
Wow. This is great. We can keep going. I'm sorry, but that's God, so dumb. Anyway, let's keep moving.
I'm not sure what else you want to talk about. I mean, we've talked pretty much about everything. Loved the winners all around.
I'm so happy for Coda.
I'm so happy for Coda. Really, it was very diverse. It felt like everybody was getting a little piece of the pie, except for Don't Look Up, but they should not have been invited to the table. The short films, I just never got a chance to see any of them, but I loved some of the speeches that they recorded and then still showed almost all of. So
wait, were those supposed to be the ones where they got rid of in the live show?
They got rid of 8 they did 8 while everybody else was on the red carpet. They did short animated, short live action, sound, score, editing, and there were 3 others, and I can't remember what they were. And then they would go through later in the show, and then they would be like, here are the winners for blah, blah, blah. And then the voiceover would just quickly do it, and then they would just be on screen because it was recorded, and they would be like saying most of their speech, and then they would cut the speech off at a moment they thought worked to try and speed it up. But it was stupid.
But they still showed it.
Yep.
You cut it, but you still showed it.
Yep, they basically
and it was meaningless because you cut it off.
Yeah, they basically cut the walking time from going from their seats to the stage, which, 30 seconds maybe at the most, maybe a minute if they're taking a long time, to maybe avoid Will Smith in case they're getting a smacking.
He's swinging.
So yeah, it was stupid. And they did take a jab at the Golden Globes that was very funny. Amy and the hosts did, Wanda and Regina, and it was very funny. And the audience was like, "Don't talk about the Globes like that." I was like, "Talk about the Globes like that. The Globes
don't
suck.
Take our party away."
Yeah, it was.
Don't take our party away.
It was. Oh God, it was so funny. Yeah, the Globes, they suck.
They suck.
But yeah, it was something. They should not have done that. They should not have done that. It just kept the show at normal speed. They cut time, but then they added things like the fan voting. They maybe cut 5 minutes off the show altogether doing that, but then they added all this fan stuff, and they were trying to give love to movies that had been at anniversaries. Like they did a thing for James Bond that made some people on Twitter mad because Rami Malek came out to talk about James Bond, and people were like 60 years of James Bond, and you couldn't get any other actor but the one in the most recent one. Yeah, Rami Malek came out to talk about James Bond 60-year legacy instead of getting somebody from the past. Not even Daniel Craig would have been better, you know what I mean? And I love Rami Malek, but he's just not the choice. They had the Francis Ford Coppola was there with Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and they were talking about The Godfather on an anniversary. And then later they cut to Francis Ford Coppola, or he was like behind somebody, and man, did he look? He's getting up there. He looked good, moving good, but man, he looked like he was ready for bed. He was half asleep on those chairs. He was half asleep on them chairs. But yeah, it was a good show. It was definitely better, one of the better shows they've had in a while, probably the best show they've had since the Moonlight debacle, although I would argue maybe the year after with Kimmel was a bit better, but
Boy, that's saying
it was a
something
good
though
show.
with everything that we've just talked about.
What do you mean? What's it saying?
Well, just like all of the criticisms that we've still talked about, and especially the Will Smith thing doesn't help. But
here's the thing. I actually meant to say this. I completely forgot because I started trashing the Globes. At least the Oscars are trying. There is something to be said in that. They did add 2,000 members that were all minorities.
I agree. Yeah.
They have tried. They have changed things.
Mhm.
They were like, how do we adjust? How do we be better? How do we not die? And I get they're pushing for younger audiences. It's times it feels like old white men being cranky. I do think they're getting away from that, at least if this year is any indication. But there is something to be said for trying. That a lot of other award shows are not being aired. They're not getting any views. You hear about the SAGs, you don't know about the SAGs. You know, you hear about the Critics' Choice, you don't watch the Critics' Choice. But at least they're trying. Even things like the Grammys and the Tonys that are aired are not always getting, they get kind of trashed on too for being the same old long show. We're bored, we're tired, we want to go home. And at least the Oscars are trying. And I know I'm always been a lover of them. I will always be, unless they do something atrocious. And I get that there's a little bit of bias here, but I do think there's something to be said for trying to be different, trying to be more diverse, trying to do what the people are asking. And I think they are at least doing that. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for. Yoda would be upset, but it's all you can ask for. So
no, I think you're right about that part. At least it is good to see them
at least
evolving.
They're trying to.
DJ Khaled needs to be the host next year. That's all I'm saying. Maybe he'll get me back with that.
All right, I think we're good to go. So, guys, what did you think of this year's Oscars? Comment below, let us know. I'm gonna like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Thank you, Meal patrons. Go get some merch, and as always, thank you for watching, Mom.
See you guys.